Hello, welcome back to Time Hats. I'm Drunken Dan.
Man, Dan, isn't it strange that we've just had another person accused of sexual trafficking that's been done in by pizza?
You know, if I had a nickel for every time that someone got done in for pizza with trafficking, I'd have 2 dimes or nickels. I don't remember what I said. Which isn't a lot, but it's strange that it happened twice.
I mean, I knew exactly we were going to go and do the one Phineas and Ferb quick, 'cause that's what everyone's done. But just like you couldn't even remember halfway through what you'd said. You're like,
Hey, I had to make it different somehow. I wanted to be droning. I wanted to be droning and then just fuck up the quote.
Do you think Andrew Mars sweats? He's fucking sweating now.
Let me just check one thing.
Or are you just making sure?
Okay.
Or just checking that he actually did do it?
No. I was checking my list for when we talk about that in a few minutes. I was making sure that I had it set up properly so I could read it properly.
Fair.
Oh yeah, I gotta start with the penguins. The penguin and the burb. But so anyway, I'll ask the first question. Which one of us do you think has the? My list probably isn't funny. Is your list funny? Because I want to figure out which one of us should go first for our best of the year.
I have a few things that I'm going to talk about, and I'm probably going to kind of. There's a couple on my list that are knocking off the one or two I can get away with now because I don't really want to talk about Pokemon Scarlet. There's one or two on my list, so I'm probably going to make fun of them a lot.
That's fair.
I will say I haven't actually ordered a lot of these. So I'm just going to kind of ordered any of these. I'm just going to make up an order, and I'm going to put like. It's going to be very telling, but I'm going to put Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel at number 10. No, I actually, in a weird sort of way, in a weird, really fucked up way, it's in a year where we've had like where we've seen things like Blizzard go crazy with its like microtransaction bullshit, pay to win crap, and turning what is free to play stuff, and all the other usual gacha. It is literally like the technically fairest and most responsible gacha I've ever seen. Like, if you know what you're doing, the game gives you more than enough resources from the start to just build like a good deck, and that will carry you for ages. And it's just that kind of wow. You generally don't sit from Konami of all people. You don't see these kind of ethical game practices, especially in fucking gacha. It's like that almost has to be rewarded just for that nature of it existing. Like, you look at Diablo Immortal and its actual, like, fucking quadruple figure purchase prices.
I mean, Blizzard stuff in general has been pretty bad. Like, fucking Overwatch 2s are really bad. I can't remember the exact math for it, but basically skins, if you want to pay for them, they're like $50 practically.
Yeah.
And, like, unlocking them would take you... I think, if I remember, when Kiriko's Halloween skin came out, it would take you a full year to unlock it.
Yep.
The freeway.
Yep.
Which is very, very scummy.
I mean, it's almost assuredly designed that way, so that then, in a couple months, they can turn it around and go, "Hey, look, everyone, we reduced the price of the shop. Right, you're going to reward us for doing the thing we should have done ages ago."
Possibly. But anyway, games of the year. I'll start with mine since yours is going to be funnier. Oh,
I've already started. Yeah, that was my number 10.
Oh, your number.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Master Duel, because it's actually, and I'm only putting it there because it's like one of those things of like only fucking like idiots who want to play card games are gonna have any kind of enjoyment, and even then, only the sadistic ones who want to play a broken card game are gonna enjoy it. But it's more of the fact of it's gacha that's not dog shit.
I mean, to be fair, that's basically just trading cards.
Yeah, it's incredibly fair. It's honestly better priced than physical games ever were. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it's so insane to look at that game and just be like, man, why is this, like, actually the best example of doing this kind of game in an ethical way?
Especially from Konami.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't fathom. That's what makes it feel weirder. Especially, as I said, in a year that specifically has seen stuff like Hearthstone's gone through a bunch of shit as well. I mean, Marvel Snap has had super predatory pricing on its like everything. Like it's been overcosted as fuck.
I know there's that there was a Marvel game that came out recently that that already went on sale. Like
Is that Midnight Suns?
Immortals or something like that. Midnight. I don't fucking know.
I just know that there was a game called Midnight Suns that I kept seeing like trailers for and descriptions, and none of those things ever actually told me what the game actually was. So I was like, well, I'm just not gonna bother.
I don't know what the game is either.
Yeah, so it's like, and I've watched like 2 trailers, and I literally have no idea I don't even know what kind of game it is. It's just a thing that existed. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, you're giving me information, but it's not actual information. You're just saying, yeah, it's a Marvel game. It's Marvel, baby, and it's like, I don't know. Tell me what kind of game it is.
What am I playing?
Yeah. I thought so. I just was like, you know what, fuck it. I'll save my money and play good games.
I mean, like, there's plenty of like
And
this
also-
year had a lot of good games in my opinion. So it's like, I have plenty to play. So it's not like I'm like, hey, I'll take a shot because there's nothing really being released right now.
So what's your number 10 then?
Okay, we're doing each one individually. So,
I mean, you could do whatever. I
so-
just ask you what.
oh, okay. So, yeah, let's do it like that. Fuck it, why not? My number 10 is Gungrave Gore, which I really liked. It does have problems with some like janky bits, but you know I kind of expected that because it's still like a budget game, essentially. From a franchise that realistically was dead for over a decade. But I had a lot of fun with it. I don't really have much to add. It was just I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything really funny to say. It just is.
Next up, I'm gonna put Ghostwire Tokyo, which is like it's one of those things where I mostly got it as like a part of a bundle deal, but it was like a reasonably fun experience, and it's like, yeah, it's just like a kind of quirky Japan supernatural focus, not quite or FPS explore game, but it's like, yeah, it's just fun, you know. It's kind of like Yakuza if it was done in like, if it's kind of like, I guess the halfway point between like Yakuza, Fallout, and or like Yakuza and like a sort of first-person shooter RPG, which you know is, you know, it was fine, but nothing like super amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It's one of those things where it's just the kind of. It's not a whole lot to sort of say much about it, but it is an enjoyable time. I know probably if I replay it, I'd have a lot more specifics to say on it. But
Shit. I gotta redo a DJ Grooves level because otherwise the owl wins.
damn it, DJ Grooves.
Shit. Fuck. Reverse. Fix it.
Fix it.
Go on, stop talking. I don't care. I need to get the points. We'll redo this level. But, oh yeah, I will, when we get to, like, the top 5, I'm going to, on my end, I will deter for a second for honorable mentions, and, two disappointments I want to rag on for fun.
Okay.
Okay, so next for me is Kirby's Forgotten Land. It's really good. I loved it a lot. I actually 100%ed it like a psychopath.
Oh yeah, I did too. That's on my list, but it will be further up.
Fair enough.
It's just one of those things where I think in most sort of normal circumstances, I would probably have it lower down because, well, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with it. It's a really enjoyable, like, you know, third person. It's a really enjoyable, like, 3D platformer in a way that Kirby has never been before, and it's nice to sort of see Kirby get to exist again.
Yeah.
But for me, it actually has like a special place in my heart because it's a game me and my niece, or my niece just likes playing every time she's round. So
Fair.
means, yeah.
It's a easy enough game to play with someone, and it's a lot of fun. It's cute. The music is really good. I do like the for a Kirby game. I do like the story of it.
Like you could just steal Meta Knight shit while you're fighting him.
Oh yeah, that's fucking great. He fucking hates it. But
He spends the rest of the game standing on that fucking Colosseum.
But yeah, that was honestly like that. That was definitely like it. It's just there was a lot this year. That's the only reason it's not higher. Well, a lot for me and the kind of stuff that I like to play. But yeah, that's mine. So it's up you next, I guess. Unless it happens to be Kirby, then that'd be funny.
I think that'll be a little bit hard. I actually think I'll put Legends Arceus in this slot.
Okay.
Because it's that kind of thing where Legends Arceus is not technically a great game, but I think the fact that it is at least an interesting game from a company that doesn't make interesting games anymore, and hasn't for a while.
Are you telling me Scarlet and Violet's not interesting?
No, I'm telling you they're not good.
How could you say that?
Quite easily, in fact. But at least Legends Arceus had a lot of things where it's like, okay, it's kind of rough around the edges, but if you took this concept and you properly like refined it, if you spent like a year polishing this up, you could actually have like a viable alternative to like a viable kind of like actual spin-off series of Pokemon. Because fuck me, do a lot of those spin-offs just not land. I think like Mystery Dungeon and the Stadium stuff, and that's basically been it.
Yeah, I remember Pokemon. Wasn't there like a Pokemon Ranger thing before?
There was like one game, and then there was Pokemon Snap, and then everyone complained, why is there not a second Pokemon Snap? And then they made it, and nobody bought it.
It's because the reason why people liked it back in the day was because of the fucking Blockbuster tie-in. No one wants to admit that, but the reason why they're so nostalgic for it was the Blockbuster tie-in, where they could go to Blockbuster and get stickers of their pictures. I don't know if you remember that, or if they had it over there.
I don't think... I mean, I don't remember it, but they might have had it. I never made such use of it.
Fair enough.
I don't know. It's just one of those things of it's like, maybe if I actually had played the new Pokemon Snap, I'd have given... maybe it is a good game, but it's just...
Like, I'm sure it's fine for what it is, but, like I said, no one really cared about Pokemon Snap as a game. They liked it, for a lot of it is the nostalgia and the era where you could where you put Pokemon on anything and it would sell, as well as, you know, the novelty of being able to take pictures of the thing in the game, put it on your memory card, cry to your mother to go to not GameStop, Blockbuster, and then slap your memory card in the machine, and then get a sticker of that picture you took.
Plus, also, it was at a time where Pokemon was until, you know, around that time, mostly confined to the Game Boy. Like,
yeah, so it was a novelty of having something on the home console too.
Yeah.
Because most the home console stuff was like Stadium and like Puzzle League.
Yeah.
Alright, so Arceus. Okay. My next one is King of Fighters 15.
Yeah.
Just a solid fighter. The matchmaking is kind of kind of not the best though. And I do wish it had more like single player content, but I say that about fighting games a lot.
Man, so this speed DNF Duel is going to be higher on your list, right?
No.
Sorry, DNF Duel.
Nobody played that game. Anyone who puts that on their list, I'm declaring them a hipster. Because I'm correct in saying that they're hipsters.
Maybe they just like the whatever game it is it's actually from, I don't know.
Dungeon Fighter Online. It's a like dungeon crawler beat 'em up MMO game from
Suddenly I don't care.
From years and years ago. It's old as fuck. Okay, cool. I put DJ Grooves ahead, so we can do the finale now.
Hooray.
But Yeah, it's definitely a solid game. I wish the matchmaker was better, and I wish that, and also this might date the recording, but SNK fucking nerf Cronin, Jesus Christ! I'm no longer asking.
That's fine. They're still not doing.
They might not. We'll find out when the update hits, because there's a hit the month of this recording.
Well, you know, SNK, they like having their broken characters. I guess at this slot, I'm going to put Bayonetta 3, which feels, you know, a bit mean, considering it's not a bad game. It's not like a comparison. It's not like it's just a bad game, but I don't know. It just felt very kind of like I obviously enjoyed the overall combat and the weapon variety, but it's just a lot of niggling problems with that game.
It's the problem that, in my opinion, Platinum games always have, where they like to throw in. So, like, I always say that I'd rather a game do one thing and do it right, and that's all it does. Where a lot of Platinum games, in my opinion, they have one core mechanic that is okay. They don't perfect it, and then they instead want to add a bunch of faff to the game.
I don't think that's Bayonetta 3's direct problem. I think, in a weird sort of way, Bayonetta 3's biggest problem is Devil May Cry 5.
Ooh.
I think so much of Bayonetta 3 is kind of
Trying to be
like,
be at DMC5.
yeah, I think very much part of the reason why the game like vanished from like, you know, not or from like everyone's knowledge for suddenly like a year plus is Devil May Cry 5. I think that came out and they were like, oh well, we're gonna strip away what we're doing, we're gonna do some of that. Because I mentioned before, there's like one weapon has literally like the same animations as a weapon from DMC5, which is fine when you're referencing the stuff that Kamiya worked on, like the moves that Kamiya added to the game that have been like, you know, character action specific all since then, but then it's just weird to do it to another game.
Well, I mean, his involvement with DMC, it was actually more limited than you think, because he really only worked on one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about the moves he added in 1. Like this, you know, there's like this like stinger.
But that's more for
like,
the audience, because some people like attribute him
Yeah.
to like 3, and I'm like, he had nothing. He had nothing to do with 3.
Oh yeah, he was out by then. That was 3's Itsuno, who also did, you know,
2.
funnily enough. Yeah, he also did 2. In fact, the reason he did 3 was because he felt so bad about doing 2.
Yeah.
Because 2 was a rush job.
And 3 is a significantly better game.
But yeah, the main point is it's fine when you're doing stuff that Kamiya obviously had impact or influence on, with like the moves introduced in 1, like, you know, hey, Bayonetta has a stinger and has like a whole bunch of other you know, a whole bunch of other like random Dante moves, and it's like, yeah, I get that. And then when you do it to like the one of the unique weapons from 5, and it's like, okay, it's a bit like shameless. And then I don't dislike Viola, but I'm just like, yeah, Nero was cool. I guess we're just doing Nero, but not as good.
Yeah, they're not as good, Nero. And as a reminder, she looks like the character that I'd be into, but she's just lame.
I think the annoying thing is, if they'd have tightened up her gameplay a bit, giving her more levels, because the game's shorter than any other Bayo game in terms of pure levels. They've tightened up her gameplay, made it actually more fleshed out, and kind of just, instead of just being this kind of like afterthought, it feels like, in terms of how lacking in depth it is compared to Bayonetta's moveset. Like, it would have been fine. Like, the reason why Nero works is that Nero has distinctive enough gameplay from Dante, but is still just as deep and fun. And then, you know, then there's V, who's, you know, not necessarily fun, but it sure is easy to play as V. But yeah, I don't know. I think Bayonetta 3 was delayed in order to ape off of
Well,
what,
it also got
DMC5?
delayed to actually. One of the reasons it did get delayed was the fact that during mid development, the fucking lead left,
Yeah.
and then he went over to Street Fighter 6, and then they were essentially trying to cobble together a game from that, and based off of what little they had, because it was originally going to be like an more open worldy kind of game apparently. And then they kind of had to like cobble it together and rearrange it to be what ended up being Bayo 3.
But as I said, the core gameplay.
But I mean, they definitely did look over at DMC5 while they were working on it. Whether that was from the original lead or not, I don't know.
But yeah, it's definitely a fun game. But for me, it's, even though I'm a massive fan of these type of games, it's a bit more of a, yeah, it's here, but there's a bunch of asterisks after its placement.
Fair enough. So, my next game is a better character action game, Evil West.
I have been interested in that.
It's really fucking good. If I think the simplest way to describe it, it has more like the tone of, say, something like Devil May Cry. It does the perspective of God of War, but it works because you have guns. I still wish the camera was pulled out more for when you're not using your guns.
Yeah.
Because I always found that to be a problem with like a lot of like those types of games when they put it over the shoulder like that. But I do wish that they would. But at the same time, I get it because, like I said, the guns and shit. Oh, there's a phone call in the game. But
right.
the combat's fun. It's very punchy. It feels good. Even to the end, it felt good, and how they would introduce characters and enemies and shit for you to deal with, and your weapons. Weapon upgrades were fun. I'm trying to think if there was like, if I had to make a major complaint, I guess it'd be sometimes it's hard to find shit, and if you accidentally make yourself progress, you can't go back in the level to find stuff. But so I think that's like the one thing I can knock against it. But yeah, it's really good. I like being able to uppercut a bunch of zombies into the air and then punch them forward into a bunch of weird leech men, and then they explode.
Yeah. I think we're on what, number 6 or something?
Something like that, I think.
I've stopped counting, so I'm just going to put God of War here, so it's not in the top 5. Because it's one of those things where it's like, when you're actually into the core gameplay loop, and you're just playing, and you're just able to use your weapons and kill things and explore, the game's actually quite fun. The thing that holds it back is it has like a fucking snail's pace of a pacing for the story, and also all the Atreus sections are fucking awful and take far too long, and then also Odin sucks. And just the general story is really bad, but the actual gameplay is so good when it's allowed to happen that it bumps it up a few more places than it probably should be on this list.
So maybe you think you probably like Evil West.
Yeah, I do want to give it a go, but like I've been terrible about games these sort of last couple of months. Or like new games.
Right. No, I get that. Oh, well, I fell.
Especially with like God of War taking like 14 billion hours to complete.
I will tell you, Evil West does not take you 14 billion hours to complete. It's not a very long game. It does build itself, I think, for replays. So I will say that it won't take you 14 billion hours to get through.
It's just so many points where I was in God of War, and it's like, is it just so... You spend so much time building up to Ragnarok, but there's very little actual Ragnaroking going on at the end.
Which is kind of funny considering the name of the game.
Yeah, it's like all this talk about, oh, we can't do Ragnarok, let's not do Ragnarok. Okay, well, like, it's the fucking Kingdom Hearts 3 problem. Where, like, the ending technically, we already, like, know what the ending's gonna be, but we have to spend all... but we can't actually, like, move a whole lot of the plot along, so we just have to kind of spend a lot of time meandering until eventually, like, alright, I guess we're Ragnaroking now. Okay. Alright, yeah, I guess we are just going to do the Keyblade War now.
Keyblade!
Oh.
But, alright, for my last one before I get to my top 5, It is Spark the Electric Jester 3. It's basically like a 3D Sonic sort of game, though it's closer to say like adventure style in terms of its level design. Though its level design is also closer to original Sonic, where like 2D Sonic had like multiple like routes and shit you could take in a level and paths and crap. That's how Spark's level design is, which in a weird way makes it more of a transition from 2D Sonic to 3D than regular. It's really fun. It's very snappy. It controls really well. I don't really have any big complaints on it. The story's a little odd. I guess that I'll give you that. It's just, but I mean, I'm not there for the story, so who cares?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Neat.
All right. Now for your next one, I guess for your top 5, unless you have like weird shit you want to put in preface in front, like how I do.
I guess I can have an honorable mention. I'm going to honorably mention Trails to Zero, because it is a really fun RPG, and I did like it. And if I'd have not kind of miscounted my list, I'd have probably put it on the top, put it in this list somewhere. But I'm going to say that by virtue of having played like the entire like next 7 parts of this fucking saga before we finally got to play Azure or Zero, and it's still obviously incomplete because you got to wait for Azure. I'm not gonna fully count it just because I've played it sort of before, and also it's not over yet, Snake.
It's never ever truly over.
Well, it is literally in that. Well, we already know that the sequel. Like, we already know the sequel. You already know what happens because, well, yeah, it's already you've already played the games. But they're like, man, I can't believe that big thing just happened over there, and all of this happened.
I can't believe that happened.
But,
anyway,
yeah. Anyway, let's go. Let's talk about. Let's get back to all the robots. So yeah, that is like my honorable mention of it. Would be on this list. I think it will be on the list next year when Azure comes out. Although, looking at like the next year's release, it might also be Hajimari up there as well. We'll see, or Reverie, whatever it's called. We'll see. So yeah, so I think for my number 5, I'm actually going to put Shredder's Revenge.
Ooh. I have that on my list. Not number 5. I do have that on my list.
Yeah, like. Turtles is always weird to me because I've never had like a huge, like I was never big on the Turtles. It was a little bit before my time. I don't even think I've ever seen. I think I think I've seen the second movie, and I think I've seen the first like Michael Bay movie. And I think that's it. I don't think I've seen like any of the other movies. I don't even think I've ever seen any of the cartoons all the way through. I think I've only ever seen like the 2003 one. A little. So yeah, it was kind of one of those things of I've only got like a baseline sort of loose knowledge / affection for Turtles. So yeah, it was a nice fun beat 'em up to go into.
I'll talk about so I'll just when we get to my list, I'll like kind of skim over it.
I like that they got all the actors back for the Turtles.
Well, most of them. Oh, for the Turtles themselves, yeah. They had voices they could get back in general. Like April's VA retired years ago, so they weren't going to get her. And some other ones are dead.
Dead or disgraced.
But, so I was, so Turtles is technically before my time, but not. What I mean by that is, so my brothers were a little older, so they were into it, and we had, like, VHS tapes of it, so I got into it via that way, via their old, like, hand-me-down toys and, watching the old tapes.
Yeah, that's how I got with Transformers for my older siblings, but Turtles was just never a huge thing over here.
So because of that and the fact that Turtles had like a lot of video games coming out at the time, I was really into the Turtles when I was very young. So like me playing through the game and like even doing like the story mode bit where they do a lot of references mainly to season 1 and 2 did hit me a little bit harder because I was just like, oh, this is so fucking cool. I really like the combat of it. Combat is very snappy and responsive. I feel like design-wise, it's probably the best design of the Turtles beat-em-ups. And it takes, and most people will say like, oh, it takes cues from Turtles in Time, and I'm like, no, the mechanics are closer to Hyperzone Heist, but everybody pretended it doesn't exist because it was on the Genesis and not the SNES. But yeah, that one's gonna be a little bit higher on my list, but it won't be long before we get there. So I'll do my honorable mentions, and then I have 2 dishonorable mentions.
Nice.
So for honorable
Go
mentions,
ahead.
I have a good bit. I'll go with them first, because they're less funny. Stray. Yeah. I really like Stray. I'm not really into games like Stray typically, but I actually enjoyed it. I like the story of it. It was just fun. I liked it. I don't have a lot to say other than I typically don't like those experience type games. And this one I liked. So it's right next to Stanley Parable of experience games that I actually like.
Because it's about a pussycat, I bet.
Maybe a little bit, but I also like the setting of it. Next would be Postal 4. As much as I like it, I couldn't really justify putting Postal 4 in there, even as a lark.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, I mean, Postal is always going to be an interesting series to kind of look back on. It's probably the most diplomatic way to phrase that.
Probably.
But it is one of those things of huge ambition, not as many resources. Their ambition definitely outreaches their ability in terms of what budgets they have and what they're able to do.
And like I do have fun with them. They are fun.
They are the perfect kind of for fun games, but I think even the most die-hard Postal fan, Civi, would accept that there is that part of the charm of them is the element of jank to them.
Yeah. So I don't really have anything else to add to that one other than I enjoyed it, but even as a lark, especially with this year being strong for me, I couldn't even like justify putting it on there. I almost like early in the year I had it on like higher up as a gag, but as the year went along, it was like I can't fucking do it.
Even you can't resort to that. Yeah. So what's your next honorable mention?
Rollerdrome.
Oh yeah.
Basically, Tony Hawk meets what's that fucking arcade game where it's like the game show and you shoot a bunch of shit?
I'm
forgetting its name.
Yeah, same.
But it's kind of like that. It's a lot of fun. It's actually pretty hard that you can also make the game like comedically easy, where you can make yourself invincible, have infinite ammo, and do all that just to get through the game's story modes and levels. Yeah, it's really good. Then the last one for the honorable mentions is Fire Emblem 3 Hopes. It's a Warriors game. I enjoyed it, and had some decent Fire Emblem story bullshit, and that's it. I enjoyed it, though it is a little bit long in the tooth, and the endings kind of suck. I don't mean like, oh, they didn't get a happy ending. They just kind of end and don't have a conclusion.
Okay.
I didn't know that was a spotlight. But, yeah. So, for the dishonorable mentions, this is where I have a little bit more fun. Rogue Legacy 2.
Oh, yeah.
That game was good at the start, and then it decided to shit the bed. Like where it just starts getting, like, really, like, painfully, like, grindy and just annoying to where, I was playing through it on, like, the normal difficulty for the game, and then as it went along and it just got annoying, where its way of making things harder was just throwing more shit into, like, boss fights to make them more obnoxious. Like, they throw, like, more, like, ads and shit that are in the fight just to be annoying, and just make the fights annoying rather than fun. And, or, like, actually challenging.
Yeah.
So, like, by the end of the game, I ended up putting it on easier mode, but by then my mood was so soured when I got to the real final boss, who honestly at that point felt unnecessary. I said, fuck this game, and I stopped playing.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit of a pain of a game.
Yeah, I strongly unrecommend it.
Neat.
And the other one, funny enough, the studio that made Evil West made this one, and I see that's where they put all their fucking good work into. Shadow Warrior 3, or as I like to call it, Bulletstorm 2.
Ooh.
The game is so So what pisses me off about the game is it basically ignores half of the story of the previous game. Its combat feels like they really wanted to chase after Doom Eternal, but in the end it felt more like Bulletstorm. They like got rid of like the katana attacks, a lot of the key ability shit. You know, the stuff that makes Shadow Warrior.
They got rid of the racist accent.
No, they just got an Asian guy to do the accent.
Oh.
See, it's different now because it's an Asian guy doing it. It's the same. It's basically the same bit, but now it's an Asian guy doing it, so it's okay.
I guess that makes it okay. It's
Um,
fine to be a racist stereotype as long as you're played by that race,
yeah.
I guess. Okay.
And
Yeah,
it's fucking just annoying. It's just and like the levels are just like you know how like people say like when they critique like Doom or like Doom 2016 or Eternal, they're like, yeah, it's just arena after arena.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was that, but like they don't like make them organic to where it's just like feels literally like you just go from arena to arena because the world has no cohesion to it. That's fucking Shadow Warrior 3. Fuck Shadow Warrior 3. I wish I could refund it, but unfortunately I beat the game and it's over it's over 2 hours long. So I'll never get that money back.
Should have followed one of those YouTube guides of can you beat Shadow Warrior 3 and still refund it.
I didn't think it was gonna be a piece of shit.
Oh. So yeah, what's actually like your fifth most liked game then? Your top 5, yeah, number 5.
Oh yeah, I forgot I'm doing that. Number 5 is Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah. Kind of figured that was coming up somewhere, but I wasn't sure when.
Yeah, it was just really fucking good. I kind of wasn't, honestly, Spark and it can interchange each other, but, I just gave it slightly to Frontiers, because I really like some of the story bits in the game.
Yeah.
Though I will say, I think, Spark has better, handling in terms of how he moves around than Sonic does. So I can give Spark that. But, yeah, they're both just good games, and, I don't have much to add. I think basically, if I was making any complaints, I'd be like, yeah, I would like the world to be a little bit, next time they do this, to make the world map look a little bit, like, more cohesive, but, like, I didn't mind it because one of the things I hate about open world games is when they make it too much of a world and it's just kind of annoying to get through. Like, they forgot to make it a video game. But, yeah, Sonic Frontiers. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a game I definitely have like interest in, but it's just been a busy winter period, you know.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna put Miles Morales at the number 4 slot now. I mean, I guess I forget if I said it in recording, but it's a game that technically came out last year, but I only got to play it this year, and also got released on the PC this year, so it counts.
I still need to get that game at some point and play it.
It's, you know, it's the kind of thing where it's... I mean, when it came out, I heaped, like, tons of praise on Spider-Man. We did a whole playthrough of Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah, it's a great game.
And I did everything but talk about Spider-Man in that playthrough, obviously.
We talked about the Wizard.
That's how we do things on this channel.
It's true. What's a
hat
in time?
We talk endlessly about things that we like, and then when we play a game based on those things, we're like, actually, I know we would just talk about Transformers in our Spider-Man playthrough, but what about them fucking Space Noids, though?
And then we do Gundam and we talk about the Wizard or something.
Yeah. But, no, yeah, it's my only real complaint against it, the reason why it's not higher, is that it is very clearly, like, a side game you release because you're too busy working on Spider-Man, on an actual Spider-Man 2. It's fine. Like, it's good. It's more of, like, Spider-Man. is good because Insomniac clearly has a good grasp on these gameplay mechanics. Maybe not quite so the characters and plot, but can't have everything.
I mean, other than MJ, the first one was good with his characters and plot. What happened in this one?
Just a few. There's a few things I'm not gonna say for spoilers.
Okay.
But it's one of those weird things where I really wish we could come up with a new name, with a proper name for Miles if he's going to exist in a world with actual Spider-Man. Like, in terms of a hero identity that doesn't fucking suck, like Kid Arachnid or Spidey or any of these other
Oh god, yeah,
names.
they've been all terrible.
And it's like, either give him a proper name that is actually half decent, or just make it so Miles is only ever in stories where there's no Peter Parker in his universe. Or no living Peter Parker in his universe, and he could just be Spider-Man, because, man, is it grating having the whole thing of, not necessarily in this game, but just in, like, general, of the, if your boy called Spider-Man, what do we call you? And it's like, I don't fucking know. Just...
Spider
with
2.
something. Yeah. I mean, it worked for Kamen Rider. You had Kamen Rider 1, and they had Kamen Rider 2.
Gatterman 1 and 2.
Yeah, just get Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. Then you can have Spider-Man V3.
I mean, in Japan, Videl was Saiyaman 2.
Yeah. You know what? We could have enough so that we could have a Spider-Man who is Amazon. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's very clearly like a side game and it's smaller scale, and that's, not a complaint. Like, I think a failing of, like, a lot of superhero stuff in general is thinking you just need to be grand scale all the time and you can't deal with a lot of these smaller problems.
Oh, yeah, that's a video game thing in general.
I talk about a superhero as, like, in terms of even, like, things like the MCU and their innate way of dealing with things. Like, it's just a thing with superhero stuff in general at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun game. I like it. I haven't given it a second playthrough. Like, I've played through Spider-Man PS4 like 4 or 5 times at this point. So it's a lot. It is very much like, yeah, it doesn't quite have the level of content that the main games do, or main game did. So it does have that feel of, yeah, this is an expansion. It's like a DLC side story, but they're probably about the same length as all the other, like, DLC for that game. Altogether, I should say. Like, if you put the 3, like, DLC stories together, I think it might be about the overall length of Miles Morales, although it does have a little bit more extra side content. So, but yeah, just fun game. Do recommend overall, but also can we just get can we get some actual fucking information on Midway Man 2?
That would be nice. By the way, right now a penguin's trying to murder me.
What an asshole!
Right? After all I did for him.
Do you know how much he sacrificed? Yeah. So back to you then, buddy.
Okay, so next is, well, I don't have much to talk about with it, is Shredder's Revenge. We talked about that in length just a minute ago.
Fair.
Oh god, he's got a knife!
Well, then I'll say, hey, my number 3 will be Kirby, so we don't have to talk about that, so we can just skip 2 things.
Alright, next is River City Girls 2. Combat's really responsive and punchy. I love playing through the game. It's still funny, the music's still really good. It's just still really good. It's more River City Girls. Except for now, because, now that River City Girls is basically the franchise instead of it just being River City, because it's more popular. This time around, they aren't, like, 2 crazy stalker girls like they were before the update. Because that was the original, like, punchline of it in the first game, though they retconned that after it did better than the, then it basically revived the franchise.
Nice. yeah, River City Girls is something I've always had a bit of an interest in, but just need to actually, spend the time, do it, get like playing the game.
Yeah. So, what's your number 2?
I'm gonna put Xenoblade 3.
There?
It's like just it's just an enjoyable JRPG. It's kind of I haven't yet to sort of like replay it / stick around with the DLC, but it is just like a fun kind of romp with but cast of characters are all kind of interesting and just sort of fun to be around. There's no one outlying who's like usually in most other sort of RPGs, there's always at least one character you're like, fuck off, man, I hate your guts.
Yeah.
Persona sometimes has 2 of those.
It's true. I mean, 5 has fucking Morgana, who, if they removed him from the game, would actively improve the game.
Yep. Delete Morgana Plitz.
It's like, Morgana's basically Teddy if Teddy served no consequences for his actions.
Mm.
And didn't have a character arc.
His arc is that everyone's sad when he goes down. Weren't you sad when Morgana left?
I was happy. I was hoping, I was like, oh cool, he's dead.
And then he stole her fucking all of Haru's like screen time, so she gets basically no development in her story, in her dedicated chapter.
She doesn't get her dungeon until a spin-off sequel.
Yep.
Literally, the spin-off sequel dungeon for her is what that dungeon should have been.
Yep. Thanks, Morgana. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is just that kind of... It's the best version of the Xenoblade gameplay style, which is admittedly not something I have like a whole lot of love for. But, as I said, it is the best version of that. And, yeah, I can't talk a lot about it, because spoilers. But it's just nice to...
I just need to ask, though,
Right.
Is Uni the boss?
Sometimes she's the boss.
Oh, okay.
She is aggressively cockney, and it's a bit disorientating. But,
Oh, cool, I have a bomb on
these
me
things
now.
happen. But yeah, just, good game. Don't want to talk too much about it for spoilers, because it is that kind of thing of... Yeah, if you did like the gameplay of Chronicles 1 and 2, it's better than both of them in terms of pure gameplay.
Fair enough. I mean, from what I've seen, the game is good, though I just haven't picked it up myself, because I never really liked the gameplay of 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Even though I enjoyed like the characters and like watching like people play through it.
Mm.
I'm just beating up a penguin now as the bomb is strapped to me. Oh, the conductor's here to save me! But, alright, so yeah, my number 2. Serious Sam Siberian Mayhem.
Mm.
It's a fun, old-school bang McShoot where you just shoot a bunch of shit with ridiculous weapons.
Yeah.
And I mean a
Serious
bunch, because
Sam.
it's Serious Sam.
Yeah, it's Serious Sam.
Serious Sam hasn't changed in years, and I'm so thankful for it. Because I love those kind of games. Oh, he's got a diffuser. It's a giant pair of scissors. Thank God.
Thanks, conductor.
Thank you.
It's not quite such a peck neck after all.
But, yeah, I don't have much to add. It's just really fun. Has, like, some of the best music in the series. Has, the best boss fights in the series. It's just really fucking good. And it originally started off as a fan mod. And then, the owner, the devs, like, really liked it, and then officially licensed it.
Nice.
And it came out, like, real early in the year, too.
Yeah, vaguely remember you talking about it.
Yeah, it came out. It was actually why I started taking notes of my best of early in the year, because I was afraid of forgetting shit. And like I knew of a lot of the stuff that was coming out the year, so I was like, I need to make sure I remember all the shit that I played and the shit that I really liked. And anytime I really liked something, I just opened up the notepad and wrote it down real quick. Yeah, that's my number 2. I even though I'll be doing my number 1 after you, I think it's probably easy to figure out what my number 1's going to be.
Well, I mean, so one of us had to say it, so I'll just say my number 1 is, of course, Elden Ring.
I can't say Elden Ring because I didn't play it.
Yeah, I know you didn't, but I did.
It's true, you did.
And it's one of those things if it's like, yeah, like, you kind of can't really talk about it, because it's been, like, dissected to death, and there's, like, I bet you there's, like, 6-hour-long, like, fucking videos detailing all of the things that it does right, and it's, like, it's just a good game. Just, you can pick it up and play it. I've done multiple playthroughs. It's like one of the few Soulsborns I've actually bothered with multiple playthroughs of. With different builds. Just yeah, go and listen to anyone else who's spent like far more time than I'm willing to spend explaining why this good game is good.
Fair. All right, so my number 1, it's predictable because you notice it was absent from the rest of the list. Freedom Planet 2.
Yeah.
Really good fucking sequel to Freedom Planet 1. It's just really fucking fun. The only part I don't like is literally the last level, because the last level can suck my nuts. Well, specifically the last boss. Actually, no, yeah, the last level too. Fuck it. Sprite animation is fucking amazing. The characters are fun. The story is fine. It's like basically like a Saturday morning cartoon, but that's kind of what they were going for. So yeah, it's a fun video game that I was really excited for and was really good. Unlike Shadow Warrior 3, which is a game I was excited for and was not very good. Unless you ask G-Man Lives, but he's an idiot. Only I am correct.
Well, that's what he gets for being foreign, I suppose.
I don't even know if he is foreign or not.
I'm pretty sure he's like Aussie or something.
I don't really care. He's wrong either way.
Name a right Australian is the better argument.
Does it count if they're dead?
No.
Fuck!
Then they cease being Aussie.
Wait! Randy Feltface. There we go.
Eh.
There we go. I got one.
Can puppets even be Australian?
Yes.
How can you be Australian if you can't beat your wife and or drink?
Oh yeah, he stopped drinking. Shit.
Yeah, there you go.
So
not a true Aussie. He's the best from fucking New Zealand.
Jesus Christ, that's of all things you. I knew you were gonna say it. I knew it, but I wasn't ready.
It's like I knew exactly what he was gonna do, and it still surprised me.
I knew exactly the joke. But yeah.
Look,
so anyway, that's our list, and that took
knows.
because of the way we did it. Actually took longer than it usually does.
Yeah. But it's fine, because we got to pad out this episode.
Yeah! Pad out with the entirety of it. We didn't even get to talk about the fact that Kakarot's kind of meh.
Oh, well. Hey, guess what? Breaking news, everyone. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is a very mediocre game.
Yeah.
More hit news at 11.
More at 11. I guess it's time to leave now.
Yeah. Let's get out of here before the Aussies get more upset.
I think I hear them coming.
Who cares? They're not awake.
Wait, hold on. I think I hear rumbling in the distance. Oh,